The waves keep crashing against the shore with a rhythm that should be soothing. Instead, each surge feels like another punch to my gut as I stand alone on this godforsaken beach. 6 months ago, Lisa and I renewed our vows right here. Now I'm staring at her text message, reading it for the 100th time, like maybe the words will somehow change. Something came up at work. Had to stay back. Sorry, babe. Rain check. My feet sink into the wet sand as I walk along the water's edge. The January wind cuts through my jacket, but I barely feel it. My mind is too busy replaying all the little moments that suddenly make terrible sense. Her late nights at the advertising agency, that new gym membership she never uses, the way she guards her phone like it contains nuclear launch codes. You're being paranoid, Jack. I mutter to myself, but even as I say it, my thumb is already opening our banking app. There it is, a charge from La Maison Rouge last night. That new French restaurant downtown Lisa's been talking about. The one we were supposed to try together. My hand shakes as I dial Chris's number. He's been my best friend since college, the kind of friend who tells you the truth even when it hurts. Hey, Chris? Yeah, I need a favor. Can you drive by Lisa's office? Just tell me if her car's there. The pause on his end feels endless. Jack, man, the agency's closed today. Some kind of water damage. The whole building's shut down. The phone nearly slips from my numb fingers. 15 years. I've spent 15 years in construction management, building my company from the ground up while supporting Lisa's creative dreams in advertising. 15 years of being the steady foundation she could always count on. Now I'm standing here, watching happy couples walk past, their laughter carrying on the salt-laden breeze. Each smile feels like mockery, each holding hand a reminder of what I've lost, or maybe never really had. My phone buzzes. Another text from Lisa. Miss you. Can't wait to make it up to you next weekend. Red heart. I stare at that heart emoji until my vision blurs. I think about our daughter Emma, away at college in her freshman year, who still believes in true love because of our perfect marriage. I think about our son Ryan, a high school junior already growing cynical about relationships. What will this do to them? A jogger passes by, and something about the rhythm of her steps sparks a memory. 3 weeks ago, I stopped by Lisa's office to surprise her with lunch. Her assistant Marcus seemed flustered, saying she was in a meeting that couldn't be interrupted. I waited in the lobby for almost an hour before giving up. I pull out my laptop, connecting to the beach house's Wi-Fi. My construction company handles several buildings downtown, including the one housing Lisa's agency. As owner, I have access to all the security systems. My fingers move across the keyboard, pulling up archive footage from 3 weeks ago. The timestamp matches my lunch visit. I watch myself walk into the building, watch myself leave an hour later. But Lisa's car left the parking garage just 10 minutes after I arrived. Son of a bitch, I whisper. The pieces are falling into place now, forming a picture I can't unsee. The water damage at the agency today. I have friends on the maintenance crew. One quick text confirms my suspicion. There is no water damage. I look out at the ocean, its vast expanse suddenly feeling less like emptiness and more like possibility. I've spent my career planning buildings, ensuring every detail is perfect before breaking ground. Maybe it's time to put those planning skills to a different use. I open a new document on my laptop and begin to type. Phase surveillance. Access building security footage. Track credit card statements. Monitor phone records. The list grows as the sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the sand. Each bullet point is another nail in the coffin of my marriage, but also another step towards something else, something that makes my pulse quicken with a mix of dread and anticipation. My phone rings, displaying Emma's smiling face. Hey, Dad, how's the romantic getaway going? Is Mom there? I swallow hard, somehow keeping my voice steady. Mom had to work, sweetheart. You know how it is with the big Peterson account coming up. Oh no, that sucks. Are you okay by yourself? I look at my growing list of surveillance points and can't help but smile. Actually, honey, I think I'm about to be very busy. After saying goodbye to Emma, I walk back to the beach house. Inside, the emptiness feels less like abandonment and more like a clean slate. I open my laptop again, this time logging into my company's project management software. Every building project starts with a foundation. This will be no different. I create a new project, naming it renovation. Under tasks, I begin mapping out my plan, each step carefully calculated, each detail considered. Lisa taught me about targeting demographics in advertising. Now I'll use those lessons to become the perfect target audience for her lies. My phone buzzes with a text from Chris. Just drove by La Maison Rouge. You need to see this. Attached is a photo of Lisa's car in the restaurant parking lot. Even from the grainy distance, I can make out two figures in an embrace through the restaurant's windows. Something cold and calculated settles into my chest as I save the photo to a new folder labeled Evidence. Then I open my contacts and scroll to a name I haven't called in years, Michael Chun, my old college roommate who now works as a private investigator. Mike, it's Jack Thompson. Remember how you said you owed me one after I helped with your divorce? I need to cash in that favor. As I outline my situation to Mike, my mind is already racing ahead to the next steps. Lisa thinks she's being careful, thinks she's covering her tracks. But she's forgotten one crucial detail about her husband. I don't just build buildings. I build systems, networks, relationships. And now I'm going to use all of them to dismantle her carefully constructed house of lies, brick by brick. The waves continue their relentless rhythm outside, but now they sound different to me. Less like punishment, more like a countdown. In construction, timing is everything. Break ground too soon, and the foundation crumbles. Wait too long, and you miss your window. I look at my watch, 7:30 p.m. Lisa will be finishing her dinner meeting soon. She'll call, apologize again for missing our anniversary weekend, promise to make it up to me. And I'll pretend to believe her. We'll tell her I understand. We'll play the role of supportive husband perfectly. Because that's what you do when you're laying a foundation. You make sure it's solid before you build something on top of it. Even if what you're building is revenge. It's amazing how easy it becomes to live two lives once you get the hang of it. During the day, I'm still Jack Thompson, successful construction company owner and devoted husband. But at night, I transform into something else, part detective, part strategist, all focused on uncovering the truth that's destroying my family. Mike Chen's first report landed in my encrypted email this morning. 2 weeks of surveillance condensed into a neat folder of photos, timestamps, and locations. I'm sitting in my office, staring at the evidence spread across my dual monitors, when my secretary buzzes in. Mr. Thompson, your wife is here to see you. My heart rate spikes, but my voice remains steady. Send her in, Carol. Lisa walks into my office like she owns it, looking exactly like the successful advertising executive she is. Her blonde hair is perfectly styled, her designer's suit wrinkle-free. If I couldn't see the guilt hidden behind her smile, I'd never know she spent last night in another man's arms. Surprise, she says, holding up a bag from our favorite deli. Thought we could have lunch together, since I ruined our weekend. I gesture to the chair across from my desk, watching as she unpacks our usual orders. Turkey on rye for me, chicken salad for her. 15 years of marriage distilled into sandwich preferences. How's the Peterson account coming along? I ask, taking a bite of my sandwich. The turkey tastes like ash in my mouth. Oh, you know how these big clients are, she waves her hand dismissively. Always wanting last-minute changes. But I think we're close to finalizing everything. I nod, thinking about the photos in Mike's report. The ones showing Lisa entering a high-end hotel yesterday afternoon, nowhere near the Peterson offices. The ones showing her leaving 3 hours later, hair mussed, lipstick slightly smeared. Actually, she continues, not meeting my eyes, I might have to go to Chicago next week for the final presentation. Chicago. Right. According to her credit card statements, she's been buying a lot of lingerie lately for someone heading to business meetings in Chicago. How long will you be gone? I asked, already knowing the answer from the hotel reservation Mike found. Just 3 days. Wednesday through Friday. I take another bite of my sandwich, buying time to control my expression. That's too bad. I was hoping we could have dinner with Emma next weekend. She's coming home to do laundry and raid our fridge. Something flickers across Lisa's face. Actual regret, maybe? Oh no, I completely forgot. Can we do it the following weekend instead? Sure, I say, pulling up my calendar. I'll let her know. By the way, how was La Maison Rouge? Worth all the hype? The sandwich freezes halfway to her mouth. What? The French place downtown? I saw the charge on our account. Been wanting to try it myself. She recovers quickly. I'll give her that. All right. Yes, we had a client dinner there. The foie gras was amazing. We should definitely go sometime. I make a non-committal noise, thinking about the reservation I've already made there for next week. Not under my name, of course. Under the name she's been seeing on her credit card statements for the past month. James Wilson, my company's new consultant. Well, Lisa stands up, gathering her things. I should head back to the office. Thanks for making time for lunch, honey. I stand and walk around the desk, playing my part perfectly as I kiss her cheek. Her perfume, the new one I don't recognize, makes my stomach turn. Always have time for you. I lie. After she leaves, I close my office door and pull up the project management software. Under renovation, I check off another box. Confirm Chicago trip details. My phone buzzes with a text from Mike. Target just entered the Starbucks on 5th, meeting someone. I switch to my surveillance app. The tiny tracker I planted in Lisa's car shows she's exactly where Mike said. Not heading back to her office at all. Opening my bottom desk drawer, I pull out the burner phone I bought last week. Time to set the next phase in motion. Hey, it's Thompson, I say when the call connects. Remember that variance issue you mentioned on the Peterson project? I think I found a solution. Can you meet tonight? The voice on the other end agrees readily. Of course they do. When the owner of the largest construction company in 3 states wants a meeting, people make time. I spend the rest of the afternoon in a blur of actual work. Approving plans, reviewing contracts, solving the 1,000 little crises that come with running a successful business. But part of my mind is always running calculations, always planning the next move in this elaborate game of chess I'm playing. At 6 p.m., I pack up my briefcase, tell Carol I'm heading home, and drive to the Peterson building site. The sun is setting, casting long shadows between the steel beams of what will eventually be a 40-story office tower. My legacy project, they're calling it. If they only knew. I park in my usual spot and wait. 10 minutes later, another car pulls up, right on schedule. A figure steps out, looking nervous in the gathering darkness. Mr. Thompson, thanks for meeting me so late. I step out of my car, extending my hand. Please call me Jack. And thank you for coming, Sarah. I know it's unusual for the head of accounting at an advertising agency to meet with a client CEO at a construction site. Sarah Peterson, no relation to the company, just a coincidence that's about to become very useful, shakes my hand tentatively. Your message said it was urgent. Something about irregularities in our billing? Yes, I say, pulling out a folder. I found some very interesting patterns in the numbers. Patterns I think you'll want to see. As I lay out the evidence I've gathered, not just about Lisa's affair, but about the financial web she's woven using agency resources. I watch Sarah's face go from confused to shocked to determined. Why are you showing me this? She asks finally. Because, I say, in 3 days your boss is going to ask you to sign off on some creative accounting for the Chicago trip. And I need you to do exactly what she asks. Understanding dawns in her eyes. You're setting a trap. I smile, but there's no warmth in it. I prefer to think of it as establishing a paper trail. Back in my car, I make another call on my burner phone. Everything's set for Chicago. Your sister still work for the Tribune? Chris's voice comes back strong and clear. Yeah, and she's very interested in the story you mentioned. Corporate fraud, infidelity, and real estate development? That's front page catnip. Good. Tell her to be ready. But nothing runs until I give the signal. I drive home slowly, thinking about the web I'm weaving. Each strand carefully placed, each connection tested and secured. Lisa thinks she's being careful with her secret meetings and hidden accounts. She has no idea she's walking into a trap that's been under construction for weeks. At home, I heat up leftover pasta and sit in my home office, reviewing the latest updates from Mike. More photos, more locations, more evidence of a life I thought I knew crumbling around me. My phone rings. Emma again. Hey, Dad. Mom just texted that she'll be in Chicago next weekend. Want me to drive up and have dinner with just you? I close my eyes, fighting back the wave of anger that threatens to overwhelm me. Not at Emma. Never at her. At Lisa, for making me lie to our daughter. Actually, sweetheart, I have to go to Chicago next week too. Some issues with a project there need my personal attention. Oh, she sounds disappointed. Maybe the weekend after? Definitely. I promise. And at least this isn't a lie. By then, everything will be over. One way or another. After saying goodnight to Emma, I pull up my calendar and start mapping out next week. The Chicago trip is the keystone of my plan. The moment when all the pieces I've been putting into place will finally come together. Lisa thinks she's going to Chicago for a client presentation. I know she's going to meet her lover at the Drake Hotel, the same hotel where we spent our honeymoon 15 years ago. But neither of them knows about the other reservations I've made. The other players who'll be at that hotel. The reporters, the accountants, the investigators. All the dominoes I've lined up so carefully, waiting for the perfect moment to let them fall. A text comes in from Lisa. Working late tonight. Don't wait up. Love you. Red heart. I send back a quick love you too, and return to my planning. In construction, we have a saying, measure twice, cut once. You don't get second chances when you're building something permanent. And what I'm building now, it's going to be permanent in ways Lisa never imagined. The thing about revenge is that it's a lot like pouring concrete. Once it sets, there's no going back. I'm learning this the hard way as I sit in my car outside the Drake Hotel in Chicago, watching Lisa walk through the revolving doors wearing a dress I've never seen before. Mike's voice crackles through my earpiece. Target is in the lobby. Moving to position B. I check my watch, 7:45 p.m. According to the schedule I've memorized, Lisa should be meeting her client for dinner in the hotel restaurant at 8 o'clock. The same restaurant where, 15 years ago, I proposed to her over champagne and creme brulee. My phone buzzes with a text from Sarah Peterson. Documents are in place. Everything's ready. Perfect. I adjust my tie and step out of the car, nodding to the valet. Inside the hotel, everything is exactly as I remember it. The gleaming marble floors, the ornate chandeliers, the quiet hum of money and secrets. But something's off. The piece of information that's been nagging at me for days suddenly clicks into place as I glimpse Lisa sitting at the bar. She's not wearing her wedding ring. My hands clench in a fist as I duck behind a pillar, watching her order a martini, dirty, with 3 olives. She hates martinis. Always has. But apparently, that's changed too. Sir? A hotel employee approaches me. Mr. Thompson? There's a situation in the business center that requires your attention. I follow him down a corridor, away from the bar where my wife is waiting for her lover. The business center turns out to be a small conference room where Mike Sean is waiting with his laptop. You need to see this, he says without preamble. I've been doing some deeper digging into those financial records you asked about. He turns the screen toward me, and I feel the floor shift under my feet. The numbers on the screen tell a story I wasn't expecting, a story that makes my carefully planned revenge seem almost childish in comparison. These transfers, Mike points to a series of transactions, they're not just about hiding an affair. Your wife's agency isn't just cooking books for the Peterson account. They're moving money through shell companies, lots of it. And look who owns those companies. I lean closer, reading the names. My blood runs cold. That's impossible. I whisper. These are all subsidiaries of your company, Mike finishes. Or at least, they're designed to look like they are. Someone's been using your corporate structure to launder money. Millions of dollars worth. The implications hit me like a wrecking ball. This isn't just about Lisa cheating. Someone's been using my company, my reputation, to move illegal money. And, given her position with the Peterson account, she's not just sleeping with someone, I say slowly. She's working with them, using my business as cover. Mike nods grimly. The question is, does she know the full scope of what she's involved in? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes with another text from Sarah. Mr. Thompson, something's wrong. The numbers don't match what we discussed. And Lisa just called asking me to shred everything from last quarter. I forward the message to Mike, watching his expression darken. Jack, he says quietly, I think we need to call in some professionals. This is bigger than revenge now. He's right, of course. But before I can respond, another hotel employee appears in the doorway. Mr. Thompson, your wife is asking for you at the bar. She seems upset. Mike and I exchange looks. This isn't part of the plan. Lisa isn't supposed to know I'm here. Go, Mike says. I'll make some calls. Just be careful. I walk back to the bar, my mind racing. All my careful plans, all my elaborate schemes for revenge. They seem insignificant now compared to what I've just learned. Lisa spots me immediately. Her face goes through a rapid series of emotions, shock, fear, anger, and finally, something that looks almost like relief. I should have known you'd figure it out, she says as I sit down beside her. You always were good with patterns. The question is, I reply, keeping my voice low, did you figure out what you're really involved in? Or are you just another piece being moved around the board? She takes a long sip of her martini, and I notice her hand is shaking slightly. What do you mean? The money, Lisa. The shell companies. The fake subsidiaries. Did you know what they were really for? Her face goes pale. How much do you know? Enough to understand that this is bigger than us. Bigger than your affair. Speaking of which, where is he? Your lover? Shouldn't he be here by now? Lisa's laugh is bitter. You still don't see it, do you? There is no lover, Jack. There never was. The affair was just a cover. Something to distract you if you started noticing the discrepancies in the accounts. The bar seems to tilt sideways as her words sink in. You fake an affair? All of it? The hotel meetings, the late nights, I needed you focused on the wrong thing, she interrupts. And what better way to distract a husband than to make him think his wife is cheating? You've been so busy playing amateur detective, following me around, hiring private investigators. You never looked at what was right in front of you. My mind races back through everything I've seen, everything I've documented. The pieces rearrange themselves, forming a new picture that makes my blood run cold. The Peterson account, I say slowly. It's not real, is it? Lisa's smile is sad. Oh, it's real. Just not in the way you think. And now that you're here, she reaches for her purse. Now that you know. But whatever she's about to say is cut off by a commotion at the hotel entrance. Men in dark suits are flowing through the revolving doors, their FBI jackets unmistakable in the elegant lobby. Lisa's face drains of color. What did you do? I didn't do anything, I tell her honestly. But it looks like someone else did. As the agents approach the bar, I realize that my revenge plan has transformed into something I never expected. This isn't about a cheating wife anymore. It's about something much darker, much more dangerous. And judging by the look of terror on Lisa's face, I'm only beginning to understand how deep this rabbit hole goes. FBI Special Agent Rebecca Martinez has been questioning me for 3 hours in a suite on the Drake Hotel's top floor. The room's view of Chicago's skyline would be beautiful if I wasn't so focused on the photos spread across the coffee table between us. Run through it one more time, Mr. Thompson, she says, tapping a particular image. When did you first notice the discrepancies in your company's subsidiaries? I rub my tired eyes, the events of the night still feeling surreal. 2 floors below, Lisa is being questioned in another room. My wife, the woman I thought was cheating on me, the woman who was actually using our marriage as cover for something far worse. It was Mike Chen who found them, I explained. Tonight, we were focused on the wrong thing entirely. I laughed bitterly. I thought I was gathering evidence of an affair. Agent Martinez nods, making notes. And that's why you hired the private investigator? To catch your wife cheating? Yes, but he found something else. Shell companies using my corporate structure. Millions of dollars moving through accounts designed to look like legitimate construction projects. Like the Peterson development, she says, sliding another photo across the table. I pick it up, studying the architectural rendering of the 40-story tower that was supposed to be my legacy project. Peterson development isn't real, is it? Oh, it's real, Martinez says, echoing Lisa's words from earlier. Just not in the way you think. The whole project was designed as a money laundering operation. Your company's reputation made it the perfect cover. My phone buzzes, another text from Emma. Dad, what's going on? Mom's not answering her phone, and there are news vans outside your office downtown. I show the message to Martinez. What do I tell my kids? She considers for a moment. For now, tell them there's an investigation into some financial irregularities. Nothing more. We need to contain this. A knock at the door interrupts us. Another agent enters with a laptop. Ma'am, you need to see this. We found something in Mrs. Thompson's email archives. They huddle over the screen, speaking in low voices. I catch fragments. Offshore accounts, Russian connections, cartel money. My head spins. How did I miss this? I was so focused on catching Lisa in an affair that I missed the real betrayal happening right under my nose. Martinez turns back to me. Mr. Thompson, did you ever meet anyone named Viktor Petrov? The name triggers something. At a charity gala last year, Russian businessman said he was interested in expanding into U.S. real estate development. And did he ever visit your construction sites? Once. The Peterson site. I stop as another memory surfaces. Lisa was there that day. She said she was meeting a potential client for the building's advertising campaign. Martinez exchanges looks with the other agent. Mr. Thompson, Viktor Petrov isn't a businessman. He's a high-ranking member of the Russian Mafia. And according to these emails, your wife has been working with him for over 2 years. The room seems to tilt sideways. Working with him how? Your construction company builds legitimate buildings, she explains. But the Peterson project? It was designed to never be completed. The constant delays, the change orders, the cost overruns. All carefully planned to justify moving large sums of money through your corporate accounts. And Lisa's advertising agency? A front. The perfect way to justify additional cash flow through creative billing and consulting fees. Your wife's position gave her access to both sides of the operation. My phone buzzes again. Chris this time. Jack, you're all over the news. They're saying something about federal investigators at your office. What the hell is going on? Before I can respond, Martinez's phone rings. Her expression darkens as she listens. Lock down the building, she snaps. No one in or out. And get me eyes on Petrov's location. She turns to me. Your wife just tried to access an offshore account. $200 million was transferred out 10 minutes ago. That's impossible, I say. She's being questioned downstairs. Martinez's face is grim. No, Mr. Thompson. She isn't. Somehow she slipped out during the shift change. And she's not alone. The other agent's laptop shows surveillance footage from the hotel garage. There's Lisa, getting into a black SUV. And next to her, oh God, I whisper. The man helping her into the car is Marcus, her assistant. The same Marcus who acted so flustered when I brought her lunch that day. The same Marcus who's been working at the agency for 5 years. The same Marcus who, according to the photo Martinez shows me next, is actually Marcus Petrov, Viktor's son. Your wife wasn't having an affair, Mr. Thompson. She was groomed and recruited by one of the most sophisticated criminal organizations in the world. And now she's running with $200 million of their money. I stand up, moving to the window. Below, FBI vehicles are screaming out of the hotel garage, lights flashing. What happens now? Martinez is already heading for the door. Now we find her before they do. Because the Russian mob doesn't forgive people who steal from them, even if they're working with the boss's son. Working with? I ask, following her into the hallway. Or being forced by? She stops, turning to face me. That's the question, isn't it? Was your wife a willing participant? Or was she being coerced? Either way, she's in terrible danger. My phone buzzes one final time. A text from an unknown number. I'm sorry, Jack. I never wanted to hurt you. But they have Emma. The floor drops out from under me as Martinez reads the message over my shoulder. When did Emma say she was coming home to do laundry? Martinez asks sharply. This weekend, I whisper. She was supposed to come this weekend. Check your house cameras. Now! I pull up the security app on my phone, accessing the feed from our home system. The footage from an hour ago shows Emma's car in our driveway. Shows her walking to the front door. Shows 2 men in dark suits approaching her from behind. Jesus Christ, Martinez Briates. This isn't about money laundering anymore. This is about leverage. I watched the footage again, my hands shaking. All this time, I thought I was the one setting a trap, laying a foundation for revenge. But someone else had been building something too. Something much darker, much more dangerous. And now my daughter is caught in the middle of it. Time moves differently when your child is in danger. The next 6 hours are a blur of surveillance footage, phone traces, and mounting dread. I'm in a mobile FBI command center outside Chicago, watching dots move across multiple screens as agents track both Lisa and Emma's possible locations. Another message from the burner phone, Agent Martinez announces, sliding her tablet across to me. The text is short. 1 hour. Come alone to Navy Pier. South Dock. Just you and Lisa. My hands clench into fists. It's a trap. Obviously, Martinez agrees. But it's also our best chance to get eyes on Petrov and his people, and to find out if your wife is really working with them or being coerced. I look at the latest surveillance photos. Emma's car is now in a parking garage near the pier. The image shows her being led into a yacht by 2 men in suits. My daughter, who still calls me daddy when she's scared, who just made Dean's List in her first semester, who has her whole life ahead of her, is now a pawn in a game I don't fully understand. What's the plan? Martinez pulls up a map of Navy Pier. We'll have teams here, and here. Snipers on these buildings. Coast Guard standing by. But you'll have to go in alone, at least a pier or two. And Lisa? Still no visual confirmation, but cell signals suggest she's heading toward the pier. Question is, whose side is she really on? My phone rings. Chris. Jack, I'm at your house. There are police everywhere. What the hell is happening? I take a deep breath. Emma's been kidnapped. Lisa's involved with some very dangerous people. I can't explain more right now. A long pause. Jesus, what can I do? Check on Ryan, I say, thinking of my son. He's at basketball camp in Wisconsin. Make sure he's safe. Already on it, Martinez cuts in. We have agents at the camp. He's being brought to a secure location. A new alert pops up on the main screen. Movement at the pier. The yacht's engines are starting. We need to move, Martinez says. Mr. Thompson, are you ready? Ready? How can anyone be ready for this? But I nod, checking the wire they've fitted me with and the tracker in my watch. The drive to Navy Pier takes forever and no time at all. I keep seeing Emma's face from different moments. Her first steps, her high school graduation, the last time I saw her at Christmas. Each memory feels like another weight on my chest. Stop here, Martinez instructs the driver. Remember, we can hear everything through your wire. If things go south, say just like old times and we move in. I step out into the cold Chicago night. The pier is eerily empty, cleared by FBI, no doubt. My footsteps echo on the wooden planks as I walk toward the south dock. A figure emerges from the shadows. Lisa. She looks different, harder somehow. The soft edges of the woman I married have been replaced by something sharp and dangerous. Where's Emma? I demand. Safe, she says. For now. Jack, I know you think you understand what's happening, but you don't. Then explain it to me. Explain how you got involved with the Russian mob. Explain why our daughter is on that boat. She steps closer, her voice dropping. I didn't have a choice. Viktor Petrov approached me 2 years ago. He knew everything about us, about Emma's student loans, about Ryan's medical bills from the accident, about how your company was struggling after the recession. So you helped them use my business to launder money? At first, it was just consulting work, creative accounting. Then it grew. The Peterson Project, that was supposed to be the last one. A way out. By stealing $200 million from them? Her laugh is bitter. That money was insurance. I knew too much. Marcus warned me they were planning to tie up loose ends after the project was complete. By loose ends, you mean us? Your family? She nods, tears in her eyes. All of us. The whole company. A tragic accident during construction. That's why I had to run. Why I had to take Emma. They'll kill her to get to me. A light flashes from the yacht. A signal. Time to go, Lisa says. Both of us. There's a plane waiting. We can take Emma and disappear. What about Ryan? He's safer where he is. Once we're gone, they'll have no reason to hurt him. I study her face. This woman I've loved for 20 years. Am I seeing the real Lisa for the first time? Or is this another performance? You're forgetting something, I say quietly. The FBI has the emails, the offshore accounts, everything. No, she smiles sadly. They have what I wanted them to find, what I've spent 2 years carefully constructing. A trail that leads to Viktor Petrov and clears my name. Shows I was working undercover. My blood runs cold. What are you saying? I'm saying, Jack, that you're not the only one who knows how to build something. While you were constructing buildings, I was constructing an escape. Every late night, every suspicious meeting, every financial transaction, breadcrumbs leading exactly where I needed them to go. Movement on the yacht catches my eye. Emma appears on deck, surrounded by guards. Even from here, I can see she's terrified. Last chance, Lisa says. Come with us. I look at my wife. Really look at her. Think about every moment of our marriage. Every laugh, every fight, every kiss. Think about the family we built together. And I make my decision. Just like old times, I whisper. All hell breaks loose. They say time slows down in moments of crisis. What they don't tell you is that it also becomes crystal clear. Like watching a high-definition movie where every detail is perfectly sharp. The moment I say the code words, multiple things happen simultaneously. FBI teams materialize from every shadow on the pier. Coast Guard vessels emerge from the darkness, their spotlights illuminating the yacht. The sound of helicopter rotors fills the air. And Lisa starts laughing. "Oh, Jack," she says, shaking her head. "You still don't understand what's really happening here." Before I can react, she pulls out a phone and presses a single button. Suddenly, every light on Navy Pier goes dark. The FBI's communications erupt with static. Even the Coast Guard spotlights flicker and die. In the chaos, I lose sight of Emma on the yacht. My heart stops when I hear her scream, "Dad!" I start running toward the sound, but Lisa's voice stops me. "She's safe, Jack. She was always safe. This isn't what you think." "Then what is it?" I demand, turning back to her. In the darkness, I can barely make out her silhouette. "Show him," she says to someone behind me. A familiar voice responds, "Yes, ma'am." I spin around to find Agent Martinez removing her FBI jacket to reveal another badge underneath, CIA. "Mr. Thompson," she says formally, "I apologize for the deception. Your wife has been working with us for the past 3 years as part of a deep cover operation targeting the Petrov organization." My mind refuses to process what I'm hearing. What? The lights slowly come back on, revealing a completely transformed scene. The FBI teams are now mixed with other operators, serious-looking men and women who definitely aren't local law enforcement. The yacht's deck is swarming with tactical teams, but they're securing the guards, not fighting them. And Emma is walking down the gangplank, completely unharmed, with Mike Chun beside her. "Hi, Dad," she says sheepishly. "Sorry about all this, but Mom said we had to make it look real." I stare at my daughter, then at Mike, then at Lisa. "You're Tia." "Not exactly," Lisa says, moving to stand beside Martinez. "I was recruited by a joint task force after we uncovered Petrov's initial attempts to infiltrate American construction companies. Your business wasn't the first they targeted, but we made sure it would be the last." Martinez, or whatever her real name is, takes over the explanation. "The Peterson project was designed as a trap. Every dollar they tried to launder, every connection they tried to make, we've been tracking it all. Tonight wasn't just about arresting Petrov's people. It was about accessing their entire global network." "The $200 million, I say slowly. "The transfer." "Bait," Lisa nods. "They're following it right now, thinking they're chasing me. Instead, they're leading us to every hidden account, every shell company, every corrupt official in their organization." Emma comes to stand beside me, taking my hand. "I'm studying computer science, Dad. The FBI internship program? That was real. Just not exactly what I told you it was." I look at my 19-year-old daughter with new eyes. "You've been part of this?" Just for the final phase, Lisa cuts in quickly. "We needed her technical skills, and she was already cleared through her internship. But I swear, Jack, she was never in any danger. The guards on the boat were our people." "And Marcus?" "Marcos. Deep cover CIA," Martinez explains. "He's been undercover with the Petrovs for 8 years. Tonight's operation wouldn't have been possible without him." My legs feel weak. I sink onto a nearby bench, trying to process everything. The affair, the suspicious meetings, the late nights. All carefully staged, Lisa says softly, sitting beside me. "We needed you to investigate. Needed you to find exactly what we wanted Petrov's people to think you were finding. Your reputation for integrity made your discoveries completely credible." "You used me," I whisper. "We used your strength," she corrects. "Your attention to detail. Your determination to uncover the truth. Every time you got close to figuring something out, it helped reinforce our cover story." Emma sits on my other side. "Dad, Mom didn't want to keep you in the dark. But it had to be real. Your reactions had to be genuine." I look out at the water, watching the tactical teams securing the yacht. 3 years of my life. All an elaborate performance I didn't know I was part of. "Ryan?" I ask suddenly. "Is he really at basketball camp?" "He's safe," Lisa assures me. "But yes, he's actually at camp. We kept him completely out of this." Martinez approaches with a thick folder. "Mr. Thompson, we'll need you to sign some non-disclosure agreements. What happened here tonight is classified at the highest levels." I take the folder automatically, but I'm looking at Lisa, really looking at her, seeing not just my wife of 20 years, but a woman I maybe never really knew at all. "Was any of it real?" I ask quietly. "Our marriage? Our life together?" Lisa takes my hand, and for the first time tonight, I see tears in her eyes. "All of it. Every moment. Why do you think I fought so hard to protect you? To protect our family?" When they first approached me about this operation, I almost said no, but then I realized if I didn't do this, someone else would. Someone who might not care about keeping you safe. Emma squeezes my other hand. Dad, Mom's a hero. What she did, what she sacrificed. And now, I ask, what happens now? Martinez answers, now, Mr. Thompson, you have a choice. We can set you up with new identities, relocate your entire family somewhere safe until the dust settles. Or, Lisa smiles slightly. Or we go home, back to our life. The Petrov organization is finished. Tonight's operation is being replicated in 12 countries simultaneously. By morning, their entire network will be dismantled. And the construction company? Is completely clean, Martinez assures me. We've made sure there's no connection between Thompson Construction and any of Petrov's activities. Your reputation is intact. I stand up, walking to the edge of the pier. Behind me, I can hear the continued operations, arrests being made, evidence being secured, the machinery of international law enforcement grinding into motion. Jack! Lisa's voice is soft beside me. I know this is a lot to process, and I know you're angry. You have every right to be. But everything I did, every lie I told, it was all to protect our family. To protect you. I turn to look at her. This woman who has been my wife, my partner, my betrayer, and apparently my protector all at once. You know what the hardest part is? I say, finally. All this time, I thought I was the one setting a trap, planning this elaborate revenge. And instead, I laugh, and to my surprise, it's genuine. Instead, it turns out my wife is basically James Bond. Emma giggles. Lisa's face breaks into that familiar smile, the one I fell in love with 20 years ago. Not James Bond, she corrects. Just someone who loves her family enough to do whatever it takes to protect them. I look at my wife and daughter, standing together on Navy Pier in the first light of dawn. Behind us, one of the largest criminal organizations in the world is being dismantled. In front of us lies, what? A future I never could have imagined when I stood alone on that beach, planning my revenge. So, I say, about that anniversary weekend we missed. Lisa laughs and steps into my arms. I'm thinking somewhere quiet this time. No spies, no surveillance, no internet ou no conspiracies. Just us. I agree, holding her close. No more secrets. She looks up at me, and I see both love and steel in her eyes. No more secrets. But maybe a few more adventures?